Now it's recording.
Good morning, friends.
Good morning, people. Good
You are
Monday
not.
morning.
Welcome to Monday Mornings with Lila and John. And we're not scrambling to share all the things, all the places, because we're actually in Saturday morning right now.
Yes. I'm getting ready for a body, mind, and spirit conference in Austin, and I don't know where I'm at. My body's here, my mind's there, my spirit's boom everywhere.
That's going to be fun. That's going to be fun. So
Yes.
ask John how his weekend was. Um, we're going to talk about being you when things are crazy and
When the
chaotic.
shit hits the fan, the fan, when shit hits that fan, that that's what we're gonna talk about. And I got a lot of shit to say as the fan
Yes. So, what do
my
you
mind.
know? What do you know?
Uh, yesterday, this morning, I woke up. So I spent most of my weekend in San Jose Airport, California, and I was bitching about Southwest Airlines sucking and about corporate America not being true to or honest, like they're going to do that anyway. And then this one sister of mine hit me up last night and said, "Hey, John, were you in the airport just spreading consciousness unconsciously to individuals passing who wanted to choose it? And it was demanding, the universe was demanding you to be there." And I was like, "Fuck you, bitch." That's what I was wanting. I haven't said that to her this morning. She probably, when she sees it, I love you, Miss Lopez. But I realized, yeah, ask questions when shit hits the fan and be more of you. Uh, and there was a bunch of lessons in that. The other lesson was dynamically knowing how different you are and not being uncomfortable with the difference that you are among things or people or places that are extremely different. Just because I don't buy into a program don't mean I should judge somebody for not buying into a program.
Mm, that's powerful.
Yeah.
So when you find yourself going into judgment, what's your favorite tool?
Who the fuck does this belong to? you know, real talk. This I went into the wrongness of me for 12 hours or 10 hours, 12 hours. I went to the wrongness of me, like, how could this be happening to me? What's wrong with me? How come I don't have enough power to change this? Uh, and I did, and I almost missed the blessing of being an awareness of all the stupids around me. And not as a ding on these individuals at all, but sometimes you have to watch things before you know how to approach and move forward with it. And I do it all the time when I'm working with kids and families. I do that all the time. I never do that to my clients coming to after. So I was like, that was weird. They're weird. Sometimes I do that because people who might see that I'm weird. So uh, the quirks of people, I guess I'll call it. And I think that that is something that people could learn. When I went to so it was just a huge ordeal. At midnight, Southwest told me that, oh, we don't give passes. At 7 o'clock in the evening, they told me we don't give passes for hotels if there's something to do with weather. Wink, wink. Weather was really questionable too. We give, you have to do your own thing. And then the guy proceeded to try to sell me a different ticket for United Airlines from Southwest. Okay. So then what happened next? So then I go back and I go sit and wait and observe and go get something to eat out of a restaurant, watch somebody almost get in a fight in a restaurant. And I was like, oh my God, interesting how these humans be. At around 11:30, they sent us from gate 30 to 36, which was like was half the actual size of a football field. And so we ran down there, and then when we get down there, we sit down. Everybody, oh, okay, the plane's on the way. Now they told us the plane on the way. So the plane midway turned around and went back to to Las Vegas. Wink, wink. And they told us the plane's not coming. They knew that when they sent us there 20 minutes ago. The plane wasn't like that close, and decided, oh, we're gonna land over here in the middle of no place, or we got beamed up by Scotty, whatever the fuck. So I was told I had to go to the hotel, so I had to go back and get my bags, go through the ordeal, get my bags. Then I had to find a hotel. Then I found a hotel. I was like, I want to be close to the airport because I have to be back here in a couple hours. And I think it was a Motel 6. And I had either a prostitute or a young couple next to me that was getting it on all night. I was like, I thought I was going to hear Marvin Gaye songs, Let's Get It On, but they got it on all night. So that was the music I went to sleep to. It was free porn, I guess. But in all of this, I didn't do something. What's right about this that I don't get in this 10 seconds? What's
That's
right
my
about this?
favorite.
What's right about this that I don't get in this 10 seconds? So
Okay.
I did that and woke up at 3 o'clock. Didn't have to wake up until 5:30. Woke up at 3 o'clock. And then I just like started doing processes on my body. And I let go and I stepped into I was in the room. I was telling Lila, the room was really dark. Like something happened in that room. I knew that. And maybe that was my job to go do some shit like that in the hotel room. I don't give a fuck. I don't know. Right now, I'm on the other side of it. But what I realized is if you take a deep breath and expand outside that space and be you and look at how you co-create this, then start looking for the gems in the scenario of when the shit hits the fan. Maybe it's not shit hitting the fan, but possibilities of you come gathering more of your magic. I'm saying that now, and as I say that, I'm beginning to realize, oh, I didn't die from that. I was able to let go of things in that dark room. I guess I did some stuff with entities in that dark room. And I'm here now in Austin. I had a wonderful dinner last night. I got to speak to my sister. I was on top of the pool there's a bunch of beautiful children in the pool area last night. And the sunset was beautiful. And I'm about to go run some bars all day and give a speech. And, so when the shit hits the fan, maybe it's not shit hitting the fan. I guess that's the thing that I'm coming up with. Maybe it's not that.
So I have a thought that I haven't shared with you yet.
Oh.
You know how we live in this like delayed reaction universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I am wondering if that delay was your creation resultant from all of the resistance that you had about going on this trip. And that was your nice little creation gift.
Yeah.
The universe was like, oh, hey, remember all of the stress and drama that you like poured into this trip that I was trying to unfold with great ease for you? Because I don't know if y'all know this, but this trip just unfolded magically for John.
I don't even know why I'm here. I
I don't
mean,
know if I want to go.
yeah. I mean, I was like, money wise, it's not a money maker for me. But when the way it happened, this place is fucking gorgeous that I'm in. And my body is relaxing. I'll be back at lunchtime just to bring back some lunch and eat in this space because this space is like very like yumminess.
Yeah.
But I wasn't resistant. So I'm not gonna lie to you. I was just like, no, it's so much. I'm spending so much. And then the whole time when I'm in the airport, I spent all this goddamn money. And I'm sitting in a goddamn airport. Excuse my God, you know what I mean.
And then didn't somebody tell you though yesterday how you can get a refund on your ticket?
Yeah, somebody sent me some information on that, on getting a refund. So I got a $200 voucher. I looked in there, they gave me a voucher. In the middle of the night, they gave me a voucher. I was like, and I think Southwest sent me another voucher. So they might have sent me two vouchers. So, I mean, I guess they gave me $400. But, so I made $400 for the day. Woo!
And what if that link also works and you also get your money back? And this was just the only way that life knew how to give you that $1,000.
Yes. How's get fucking better than that? I didn't think about that.
I like how you're like, maybe.
Yes, yes. That's so light. I'll take that. I'll receive that. Thank you, God. Thank you, universe. Thank you for and I guess the other piece about it is just reminding myself is John, stay in the playful state of a kid. Okay, what else is next?
Yeah.
Instead of like, what the fuck? When I got off the board, looked at the board, and I was supposed to get on at 6:49, and it said 10:59. I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, okay, what's the other possibility here? You know, uh, I went in line, but I went in line with a conclusion. Hint: when the
Mm.
shit hits the fan, where am I? When the shit hits the fan, this is the opposite direction, but when the shit hits the fan, ask a motherfucking question because there's a possibility in asking that question.
My actual favorite question is how does it get better than this? Because what's
Yeah.
right about this sometimes makes me want to
Yes.
punch things.
But sometimes the right thing was like the lady, my sister said, what gift were you being to people in the airport? The gift that like I gave the lady at a restaurant, which the restaurant food sucked, a huge tip in my world. And I gave it like I tripled it. And I gave it to her because I was watching how she was being treated. And when I gave it to her, she was like, I was like, yeah, sister, I see you. What if that was the one thing that I did? You know, I don't know. But sometimes, and other times, give yourself grace because sometimes you don't see things about shit until after it's done.
You
So
know,
always be
all of
willing
that
to
shit.
reflect. And it's good to have people like Lila in your world that actually say, hey, I was challenged for this trip. She said, let me know if you choose or you don't choose it. If the choosing is yours. She never said, the only person who said, two people said, you're going. One was Tori. The other one was my youngest daughter, Adia. She's like, Dad, you're going. You'll be in Austin. And I was like, huh? And I called my daughter back like the next day, 'cause she did it in the middle of the night. I was like, what? She's never like that. So,
Yeah.
you know,
It's because, well, first of all, I hate being told what to do. So I tend to not do that to other people either. But choices are more powerful when we make them for ourselves.
mhm.
I was on the phone with someone yesterday and I was like, I don't know if you noticed, and I've known this person for a while and I've heard things about their marriage for a while.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't know if you noticed, but I've never told you to leave your marriage. Because the thing that got me to decide, I still didn't do it because apparently I needed to have some children with this man. The thing that got me to decide to leave that relationship was a friend telling me to stay. She was the one person that was like, I don't think you want to go anywhere. You should probably get in alignment with staying. And I was like, huh. And that gave me all the permission in the world to actually leave.
Mm.
I wasn't fighting anybody else's point of view. I wasn't fighting, like, oh, you're telling me what to do, so I'm going to do what I want to do.
Mhm.
It was like, I actually have choice here. Because that was the other thing. There was a part of me that didn't feel like I was in choice, even though I didn't have this vocabulary at the time. There was a part of me that didn't feel like I was in choice. There was such a karmic connection between us that it felt completely out of my hands. There was a logical part of me that was
Mhm.
looking at myself and learning about myself and unraveling generational trauma, if you will, because there wasn't a function. I can't look across my family. My grandmother gave birth to 13 children. I met probably 10 of them. 9, 8, something like that. All of my aunts, uncles, my grandparents included, and my mom, I cannot show you a functional, healthy relationship that I wanted to emulate. So I was in that marriage, like, don't want to be my family? What about me is sending me down that path so
Right.
that I can undo it within myself so that I don't keep repeating that situation? And I think that's one of the things, speaking of like staying with yourself when things go to shit. I think that that is one of the things, having that purpose, having that focus is one of the things that keeps me with me when life is doing its life thing.
Mm, interesting.
Yeah.
Very deep. So I guess when I think about, you know, yesterday when I went to bed, one of my clients sent me a message via Facebook, and she wanted also. I'm beginning to learn as a facilitator to allow people to have their journey on things and not to interrupt that process for them. A young lady asked me, "Could you work out, get picking something up at my mom's house?" Because I did it once for a birthday gift, and I was like, "No." And I'm reflecting on that what you were talking about from your friend who said something to you, because occasionally people need to make a choice for themselves
All the
to
time.
be. Yes, yes, not occasionally. They need to make, you need to be, not, I don't care. And after you get to a certain mindset, even your children have to make their own choices. As much as a parent, I want to interrupt. Like, here's the dope ass shit for me. When you let go and let your kids do their shit, they do what they desire to do, and they actually probably outcreate you in doing it. It's us getting in their way of their choice that fucks them up. Recently, my son, I'm not gonna say how much, he had been working. All three of my kids are wonderful, magical beings, and I'll sometimes act surprised when shit happens for them. I'm like, they get it from us. And I was like, it shouldn't be like a big far stretch cry. I mean, they hung out with us for as how many years they've been on the planet. But what I realized in my son creating something, he created some magic beyond the magic he thought he could create. He found a job that pays him three times or twice what he's making now, with bonus and within the field of what he wants to go to, what he's working at. And I looked at that, and he called me before he went to interview. He said, "Dad, I'm going to this interview. What do you suggest?" I was like, and I gave him a couple clearings to run. All of life comes to me, peace, joy, glory. I said, keep saying that bitch until you sit on the in front of the person. And uh, who am I today, and what grand adventure will I have today? And so my son went in there, and then 20 minutes later, he calls back ecstatic, "Dad, guess what? I got the job." Now, part of me is like, "Oh wow," but the other part of me like, "Motherfucker, you get whatever you ask for." And the money stuff, the universe just went blah with money, like blah, like splat money everywhere. And so I'm sitting there, and also I'll have some of that. Where am I not willing to learn from my children about being that space, that energy, and being? My son was in question. He came to me. Uh, my girls have done some of the same things with the getting to schools and all. And it's just they fucking like create reality. Like both of my girls created the reality to get full rides to school, full rides in today's economy and world, and when they were at school. So I'm like, that is being, and when they at the times the shit was looking like it was going to hit the fan for them, but they kept on taking one more step too. So the other thing is when shit looks like it's going to hit the fan, you see how the fan is often not turning, just turn that shit off so it doesn't get sprinkled, doesn't sprinkle around the room. You have shit sprinkles everywhere. That's
That's
gross.
very true. That's super true. Sometimes slowing down is the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
And when you slow down, you can gain another perspective. Sometimes that slowing down doesn't seem in your control.
Yeah.
So if you are looking around and it looks like nothing's happening, lots of things are probably
Yeah,
happening. Most
that's
of
what I'm realizing. And that takes me back to this trip. I don't know who's in that room. I'm feeling high. I thought it was my blood pressure. I'm feeling high already. And I'm like, oh, oh, what is that? And it's just like, it's an anticipation of just simply being and not trying to choreograph the scenario, but be present with the scenario, what I'm doing right now. And I guess when I guess this is a process. Not a process. I had process take too long. I like things to be fast. It's an observance, just observing things. I think we lose sight of that. Like in gardening, I observe a lot of beauty. Right from the day I planted some seeds for squash for the fall, and I remember putting them in there, and I was like, "Where are the little seeds at?" And all of a sudden, the first one broke his head out, and it was like, "Da da da!" The next one went, "Da da da!" The other pot went, "Not today." Neither one is wrong. It's just observing the possibility there.
yeah.
I know, like I took my seat stuck and da da da.
That cracked me up so hard. Um, hmm, observing the possibilities.
Yeah, observing the possibilities. And a lot of times, like in science, I forgot what it's called. It's a concept that when you observe something, you can change it in your mere observation of it, like molecule,
Yeah.
like quantum. I think it's quantum something.
Yeah, don't come at me, quantum physicians, because I am not a quantum physicist. I'm about to fuck this up.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the only reason that things exist is because we give our attention to them.
Yes.
So, the only reason that this technology exists, that this dresser behind me exists, that John and I exist, is because at some point, life gave enough attention to us that we exist. So everything in the universe exists as either a wave or a particle.
Yes.
And the determining factor as to whether it is a wave or a particle is the observer's attention to it.
Mhm.
So the same can be said of literally anything in your life. When you start thinking about blue butterflies, you start seeing blue butterflies every fucking where. When you start thinking about the lack of money in your bank account, you start seeing the money go out. When you start thinking about the fact that money is actual digital frequency flowing through the air, and you can, if you're hanging out in Silicon Valley, call in all of that wealth and pull in all of that energy through your system,
Yeah.
you start to get an awareness of the energetics of wealth. And the thing is just like, where's your attention turned to? Is
Yeah.
your attention turned to the fact that the shit's hitting the fan? Or are you choosing to be in the awareness that life is creating space for something more magical to
Yes.
happen? I hate that I just preached that sermon to myself. I want to say,
Man, Leela, that was like good sex.
great. My team is like, so are you going to listen to yourself
Yes.
right
Yes.
now?
I mean, she's speaking to me, y'all. I mean, don't take this. Don't use what she's saying. Don't ever do that. I know you human. You human. Ooh, I can't even talk right now. That was so dope. So, damn,
Uh,
damn. That.
yeah.
That's the shit I'm talking. That's why I love this lady. That is the shit that changes it all. I did remember sitting in Saddam said, I'm sitting in the middle of Silicon Valley. So let me pull the energy of Silicon Valley. Now pulls, that's another show we could talk about pulling energy later, but pull. And when I was in Burbank, when the plane landed in Burbank, I said, let me pull. I looked around, I said, let me pull the energy of that.
For those of y'all who don't know, like, you have an idea of the energy of Silicon Valley, but there's a lot of fucking money there, right?
Yes.
But for
Yes.
those of you who don't know, Burbank is the energy of my parents had money.
Yeah.
That's the energy of Burbank. Like, this money made babies with other money.
Yes.
This isn't like new money, which
Yeah.
is more of Silicon Valley's
Yeah.
money. This is like solid, stable, elegance.
Yeah.
People are wearing pearls to Sunday dinner kind of
Yeah.
money.
And if you're an allowance for that to show up, this just the elegance of where I'm sitting is the first step of this. And that reminder of however you observe it is how it shows up. I was telling, it's like, it's funny, like you say shit to people until somebody say it back to you. It doesn't make any sense. I was telling this family that I met with before I left, the kid went out of the room because the kid's doing everything well. And the dad keeps on saying, but the grades are the but. I was like, man, can I give you an analogy? Michael Jordan never thought he was going to miss when he was fucking shooting. That's the company he kept on shooting. And if you have that mentality, it changes the outcome of whatever you fucking looking at. And that, but we get so caught up, me included. Well, it has to be like this, and because it's always been like this. And if that shit, that's like having, what do you call it when you can't take a poop? Constipation. That's constipation of the brain. That's fucked up. You're gonna be walking around stinky brain, because you can't think of anything else because your brain's full of shit. Get diarrhea of the brain and let that shit go. So
Get your
enough something.
bars run, friends.
Yes. So something else can show up.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about Michael Jordan, and I think that this needs to be like a future conversation. But people look at Michael as if he was like born with this talent.
Mhm.
Michael was trash at basketball when he started.
In high school, yep. He got cut. He got
And he
cut.
decided on mastery. This butterfly is not blue, but a butterfly
Yeah.
just went across the road, speaking of where your focus is.
Yeah.
Um, he decided on mastery, and he just kept perfecting himself, his shot, his skill. And I am not advocating everybody to go blindly focus on something, but if you feel that call within yourself,
But we all have that. That's the difference. Is some people act upon it, some people don't. And it's not all basketball. It's not.
that is what I'm saying. If you
Yeah,
feel that call within
yeah,
yourself, if you feel a call towards something, trust that thing and don't put it down the first time you're not perfect at it.
yes. Fuck yes. I remember.
Put
I
some Michael
remember.
Jordan
I
on.
remember. I'm about to go do this presentation and take a deep breath, John. I remember the first time I went to communication class. I knew that I had a knack with being able to talk to people. I knew that. But the first time I stood up, I was like blah 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 blah. And I remember going to Mr. Ryan, who was my counselor in college, and I was like, I don't know how this is going to work out. And he was like, okay, John, let's manipulate this. Now, manipulate, that word that most people get nervous with, especially people, ooh, manipulate's a bad thing. No, it's not. It actually means to be made with hand. Man means hand. Well, anyway, I'm not going to go. That's enough. But okay, manipulating something means that you're going to look at it from a different perspective and then make it work for you in my world. And so the first thing he told me, he said, John, I want you to do this. And this is an old saying, and I want you to use it. When you look at everybody in the crowd, imagine without any clothes on. Now, being the freak that I was like, oh my God, oh no, that. And then I was like, oh, that might be kind of cool. Imagine her with no clothes on. Oh my God. you know? And after I did that first time, I would stop and I looked at, I had my speech like partially written. I looked up and I was nervous for a second. And I just smiled and I started laughing. And they were like, what are you laughing at? And I went on. After that, I do that every time I am in a crowd. Like today when I get there, I don't know how many people show up, few, many. And I know just looking at that person, and it's like, oh. And then it makes everything much fucking easier.
Mm.
So what would it be like that when the shit hits the fan, you look at it like naked people in front of you, something naked in front of you, and just smile, laugh, or admire, or whatever the fuck you want. Don't be a perv. But what about allowing the fan to be a fan and the shit not going to the fan?
I also want to
You
have
know,
some
I know I was
allowance.
looking at this perfect prompt here. So
Right.
yeah,
I also want to invite you to have some allowance for your humanity. Like if you need to throw a fit, throw a fit. If you need to throw a tantrum, throw a tantrum.
yeah,
Whatever you need to do. Um, but don't stay there.
yeah. It's not conducive to you.
Move the energy through your body.
Yeah, I would agree. Well, y'all, I gotta go catch Uber. We'll see you next week. Thank you for hanging out, recording. Hope you enjoyed this recording. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to hit us up. Love you much. Do me a big favor. Be kind to you, that person that you can see on the screen too, and to somebody out in public. Just like observe them and show them some kindness. Peace.
My friends.